things will be right. But in a situation where they are extremely carefree about even things that matter to them, neglecting stuff they should do, or then causing inactions to things they should even do.
Yeah.
Just like most of the time we always keep talking about the actions,
and
and
then
we neglect the inactions,
yes.
actually. So all those are forms of the neglect itself.
Yeah. So I think the only one I've not talked about is sexual abuse, and that goes on to affect things like sexual vibes or sexual. It goes a long way to affect the libido of an individual.
The urge, yeah.
So you have people that have been sexually abused as children go on to either avoid having sex generally in their lives, or you have them, have high libido. They just want to they have this like high sex overdrive, and then it can be so worrisome because one partner is not
feeling the same way.
Yes, one partner doesn't feel like doing this all the time, and then it also has to look like they can't stick to one particular relationship.
They have to go for
intimate relationships.
They need to get it elsewhere all the time.
Exactly, because they're
also trying to be protective of the notion of the other person to them. So they know that if they have to request it every hour from this person might begin to feel like, can't you control yourself?
Yeah.
And in most cases, even the spouses also do that by even asking such words like, can't you control yourself? Sometimes you might just have to sit them down and speak to them. A lot of times we add to this trauma by the way we react to situations. Just like you said, we need to understand the why. Sometimes you might just need to look at things from that angle. You might just need to learn this communication habit and sit people down. What is happening? Or tell me about what has happened in the past. That way you know how to help,
yes, or handle the situation better.
And then even when people were formerly victims, you should also try to let them know that it's not their fault that they have passed through what they've passed through. As a matter of fact, there's nothing you can do about the trauma. The only thing you can do now is how the trauma is going to affect your life. And
reassure them that they're safe with you.
Exactly. But then, you could imagine if you are trying to perpetrate or you're trying to show a sexual attraction for someone who has been a victim. You don't expect a sexual assault victim or a molestation victim to open up to you, whom you are also trying to forcefully put the sex on them.
Yeah.
So that way, definitely, it's a no-no. You even the image of you alone would bring unnecessary trauma back to the mindset of the person. So I think one of the best ways what are the best ways? Let me put that question to you. What are the best ways you think we can curtail these abuses in our community?
Okay, so best ways. It's relative.
Yeah, definitely relative.
First off, like I said, the first and most important thing is understanding yourself, understanding the child, and understanding their needs. Now, why I say understanding yourself is important is because if you know you have a busy schedule that is kind of like difficult to keep up with, and there is someone you can leave the child with, you have to know who the person is. Okay, so is this person abusive? How does this person treat their own children? How does this person treat other people's children? Do they beat their own kids? Can I leave my child with this person? Understanding the school as well that you are leaving your child or your ward in, whatever school you are taking the child to, try to understand how the school environment works. Sometimes it's not like I'm not trying to tell you to like suspect your whoever you're living your word with, but sometimes make unannounced visits.
Yeah, that is very, very right.
Make unannounced visits. Just want to know what is going on. Then as parents, especially parents who have things going on tough for them, and then they have children who are like very supportive and say they want to help them hawk, or they want to help them trade and things like that. You can leave the more explosive sides of the trade to yourself, okay, and let them do the less exposing ones. Okay, so if
actually walking around, going into some very crazy angles, you could see someone hawking oranges. The total cost of the orange on the tray of the girl might not even be up to 300, 500 naira. That's less than $1. And then you see you're pushing the child into very red zones, going to hawk where you sit out, garage boys and others. You are already putting this child at risk, at serious risk.
Yes. So sometimes as the adult or as the parent, you should take it upon yourself to do those particular things and train your child or your ward to do the less exposing things. I mean, you can train them to do in the situation of people that hawk, for example. You can allow your children be the ones to follow you to the farm and arrange the things that you're going to sell or that are going to be hawked.
As a matter of fact, we all understand that the economic situation is quite unfavorable for parents to do all the work alone. But then we both know that even our constitution does not allow unnecessary child labor.
Yeah.
And I was put into the know that there's been an act placed on that.
Yes.
And that even when you need them to do something, I think you could put a stationed shop, and then if a kid is there,
that's what
it's still better.
That's what I'm saying. That is
having
like
to work around.
Even if at all they have to participate, they have to do the more, protective aspect of the work. Okay, like being the ones that stay while you go do the hawking if you want to, or if you have the ability or the capacity to. So that's
okay. You're still on to Mental Health Show with James Osuntoogun. You call me mcjerryjay, and I'm still here with FEYISAYO ADEBAYO. Now, you would bear me witness that there are some parents that don't even trust their children. Like, their trust is age relative. You tend to see a parent trusting their sisters, who happens to be the aunt or probably the uncle, their brother, who happens to be the uncle to the child, over their own children. Okay. How do you perceive this? Because I've had cases where a child will say, uncle was trying to touch my private part and this. And then the parents would shout at the kid, "Will you keep quiet? Why are you lying?" This. Allah in conscience, especially in the Yoruba part. It's how would you address this?
So I think the issue is that sometimes it's not about trust. So I think sometimes it's mostly about fear. And the reason
How do you mean fear?
So, for example, a woman knows that possibly her husband or a brother-in-law or somebody in the family is abusing this child. The child said it, like the child might have said it, and you are tempted to want to dismiss it, but in your heart of hearts, I mean, there's this thing we call female intuition, right? In your heart of hearts that this child is actually saying the truth, but because you know that accusing this person is most likely going to lead to you having to leave your husband's house, or you being denied some monetary benefits from the person,
and then at the expense of the child's sanity.
So you're like if this person, and then this person comes, irrespective of the fact that the person is either molesting the child or abusing the child, and then this person is always giving the child money, this person is always doing this, and then that's what you are surviving on. So you are scared that pointing out this person's flaws or the child openly talking about these flaws,
it's going to block that avenue.
So it's not about trusting the other person above your child. It's more like fear of the consequences of calling the person out.
But then the fear of the consequence is actually worse than attacking it, because in the long run, when you attack your fear and then you break that unnecessary bond of insanity that is already planted in that child, you're doing a lot more good for yourself, for the child, and for the community at large. So irrespective of our fear, I would want us to face it point blank.
Yeah.
And there are several organizations you could speak with.
Yes.
If there's any situation like that, you could always call me on 0813-520-4631. And I also have a good news. I and my guest in the studio were setting up a mental health club right here in the city of Ibadan. It's not limited for people in Ibadan. We would also be having a virtual session also, where we'll be having several professionals on the platform, whereby we can speak about different issues collectively, how it pertains to us directly. And if case be, you might need to be assigned a professional, probably a psychologist, a psychiatrist, or whatever it needs to be for your situation.
Yeah.
But one thing you need to know is that you were once a victim and you survived.
Yeah.
If you survived, it's because you were supposed to stop the victimization of others.
Yeah.
And you are not responsible for what happened. You have the power to be whole again. Till we meet next time on the Mental Health Show, I remain James Osuntoogun. You call me mcjerryjay, and my guest, you might need to say, do you have a few words for our audience?
I want to say thank you for having me on the show. And yes, like you mentioned, the Mental Health Club in Ibadan.
Yes. I'll be posting the links on my social media page.
Yeah, it's available to address mental health issues, and we are very happy that we have your support on this.
No, definitely.
So thank you. Thank you for the mental health fight.
Yes.
Child abuse is one of the reasons that I went into mental health myself.
Awesome.
Like you said, sometimes, you just have to save other people.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that's important, and I just want people to know that we are here for them.
All right. Thank you very much. Till we meet next time, next week exactly, Wednesday 11 to 12. Please stay cool. Have a great time.
Don't worry, girl, be happy. You get many, many things with the woman down, yeah. Not worry, trust me, daddy. Go tell the wolf I will come and dance.